with me mentioning your record locked up and you know how long it's been now, it doesn't even seem like it's been that long. Your involvement with hip hop, how has that switched or changed? I know you were on a lot of big records working with Khaled, T-Pain. You have hits. What makes you stay in a place to where you're not in a bubble of just being a hip hop artist? You're an international star now. Like,
Right, right.
is there anything that makes you want to get in the mood and be like, hey, I want to get back to the hip hop side, or I want to? How do you maneuver through this with having such a bag of skills you can possess in this music game?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I think it all boils down to an artist just being, fearless. Because most artists be afraid to cross genres because they're afraid that they're going to lose their audience or they don't know how they're going to perform in that particular sector. But my idea is like when you make good music, it don't matter which genre we're in. The people that listen to that genre is going to follow, and then the ones that don't, you either can cross them over to be a part of something brand new, or they might be like, bro, I didn't even know he did that. That shit sound crazy, right? So me, it was always just having confidence in myself and whatever it is I wanted to do. But I also grew up listening to all different type of genres and not even knowing that genres existed in Africa. So when I got out here, I think that's why I feel like being raised in Africa when it come to music was one of my biggest advantages because I wasn't stuck in a box to where I feel like I could only do one type of music. I was always the kind of person that could do whatever type of music I loved to do at that moment in time or wherever I felt would be a challenge to go in and try to do. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And I
Yeah.
even see this with Pain. I feel like you guys don't, you know, a lot of artists will get ripped for traveling across genres and be like, oh man,
Right.
hip hop. I feel like you and T-Pain and even Usher or Chris Brown, you guys have maneuvered to other genres and you haven't got ripped for it. It's like you guys always come back and it's always interesting to see who are criticized for crossing over versus the people
Right.
that are blessed with being able to hop from genre to genre. One moment it's pop or it's rhythmic or it's EDM or whatever. You know, we see
Right.
that
Right. Right.
happen. It's just kind of cool that you guys have the range and are able to do that without being pigeonholed to one category. So I think that's dope.
No, no, absolutely. It is definitely a blessing. But I think it all depends on how you actually do it too. If you do it well, I don't think no one would criticize anything that's done well though. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And Akon, I got this question, man, because you've done big things, like huge things in music and outside of music. But just sticking to just the conversation of music, you have worked with icons. How was it working with Michael Jackson? How was that?
Bro, that was probably the best experience ever, man. Because I was on my top list to do things in the music industry that I felt like once I achieved that, then my goal in music was achieved. Like ain't nothing else left to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like how did that
Yeah, like
come
man,
about, man?
yeah. So that actually came about because me and Mike actually had the same attorney. Um, and he actually called me one day and was like, listen, Mike wants to do a record with you. Would you be interested? I was like, hell yeah. So he 10 minutes later, he called me and with Mike on the phone, but this time Mike was the one calling in. And I didn't honestly believe him. I actually hung up the phone thinking he was bullshitting. You know what I mean? Because he had a sense of humor like that. And come to find out, Mike was like, no, it's really me. Like, I really want to rock with you, man. What are you doing this weekend? Come to Vegas and rock. So at this point, it was just like I still didn't believe it till I actually got there and realized it was actually Mike in the flesh. You know what I mean? Like, man, the experience was amazing because I thought I was gonna be a groupie. I ain't gonna lie. He was the because I've been around so many artists. I never thought I could be starstruck. And I said to myself, the day I meet Mike, I know for sure I'm gonna be starstruck. But come to find out to my surprise, when I actually met him, it felt like I'd known him all my life. You know what I mean? Like we just connected instantly, like as if we were best friends forever. He knew everything about me, which also surprised me. And of course, naturally, I knew everything about him because I looked up to him all, growing up. So it was like, man, we just clicked instantly, man, and just man, got in the studio and we just went in.
Oh, like you're in the studio with Mike. Is he a perfectionist? Like, was he a guy that just like had it one way, or was he really open to the collaboration of taking, you know, ways of seeing it from your point of how to get a
Yeah.
done? How were those dynamics?
Man, that was the most surprising thing. And then that was after that experience, I realized why Mike was as big as he was. Because he
Mm.
had no ego whatsoever. He's a perfectionist, but not to the point of being detrimental to your career. He really was like, no, whatever comes with it, allow it to be. Like he was one of those, and he would try literally any and everything that I asked him to try without even giving me no back talk, no, no confrontation. He would just he in his mind, we won't know unless we try it. You know what I mean? So he was probably the easiest artist that I ever worked with in the studio. 100%.
That's dope. Not a lot of people can say they work with Mike.
Man,
You
I'm
know,
telling you, I'm telling you.
so like I know for some people they'd be like, man, I work with Mike. Hey man, I'm good. But
Right.
after that, how did you view yourself as anybody else you want to work with? Now it's like some people they might have the ego, man, I don't work with Mike, man. There's no,
Right.
so swagger to him. How after that, was there anybody else that you would love to work with or haven't had the chance to work with that you would like to, or because
Man.
Mike is up there, man. Like,
No, Mike is up there, but I think going because it was after Mike, I started working with more legendary artists. Because then after that, I got the opportunity to work with Whitney Houston. You know what I mean, and did her last single, and then I got the opportunity to work with Lionel Richie, and got those records out the way. And then I met the great Quincy Jones, and he became my mentor, and I was able to work with him. So Mike kind of opened the door for me to work with all the legends that I grew up listening to, that my parents introduced me to.
mhm,
You know what I mean? So it was a different level of industry that I started tapping into once I got tapped in with Mike. You know what I'm saying?
and rest in peace, Quincy Jones, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. He was the GOAT.
Yeah, so that's dope. And you say you work with legends. Here's a guy who's a legend in his own right in hip hop. How did the collaboration with you and Eminem come about?
Oh man, that was crazy. Actually, believe it or not, Obi Trice was the one that kind of put that one together. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I always wanted to work with my with Eminem, and he always wanted to work with me. So it was almost like a quiet trade off in a way, like, I'm gonna do it for you, but you got to connect me with M type of thing. But we didn't even have to have that conversation. He always, from the moment we locked, he's like, bro, I got to connect you with M. Y'all two got to get in, man. Y'all two got to get in. So after I did that record for him, it's called Snitches. He just, I flew out to Detroit to go rock with him just on some humbug, and he took me to the studio to go meet with him, and me and him just connected, man, and we came up with, with Smack That.